This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
Crews battled a fire in the town of Burlington yesterday. Good afternoon, I'm Susan Farley. Waterville police have arrested a person in connection with a shooting back in May. And the Maine Center for Coastal Fisheries is getting more than $450,000 to train future lobstermen about safety. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories in just a moment. First, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Hey Susan, happy Wednesday afternoon. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Lucci and Fredericks across the Eastern Maine Medical Center, serving the greater Bangor area for over 65 years. All right, so we get things rolling this afternoon. We're looking pretty good out there. Looks like a little wave of energy trying to move in to the northern parts of the state. That will not be giving us any issues, so we will stay dry with a lot of sunshine out there for us today. Maybe a few passing clouds in a few spots, though, but we have a front that's moved out towards sea and a lot of the activity off toward our west, so across parts of Pennsylvania and New York, so it's leaving us alone as we're staying rather dry today with a lot of sunshine and a few passing clouds. Maybe an isolated shower can be ruled out later on tonight, but as we head towards your Thursday, looking pretty good. Maybe a few clouds with some areas of fog to start things off. As for the wind, though, that won't be a big deal either. Maybe at around 5 to 10 miles per hour today, but notice what happens as we head towards your Thursday, really backing off, maybe 5 miles per hour at best, although closer toward Portland area, maybe some gusty winds that they may need to watch out for. But as for today, though, I mean, a nice day for us again, middle 70s with a lot of sunshine. It'll be awesome out there with that west wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Later on tonight, middle 50s, partly cloudy, maybe an isolated shower. Most of us should stay dry with that west wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, upper 70s, maybe some lower 80s, partly cloudy, isolated showers. South wind roughly at around 5 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the afternoon period showing a lot of sunshine, maybe a few clouds. Temperatures in the 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Susan?
Thank you, Devin. Fire crews were at the scene from yesterday afternoon until late last night of what was a fast-moving house fire in Burlington. The call came in just after 2 Tuesday afternoon for the fire on Long Ridge Road. It wasn't long before firefighters called for a second alarm. Lincoln, Howland, East Millinocket, Greenbush, and Milford fire departments all responded. Crews were able to extinguish the flames. However, it appears the home is a total loss. We'll keep you updated as more information is released. Waterville police arrested one person in connection with a shooting back in May. Just before midnight on May 12th, officers heard gunshots near the area of Silver Street Extension. When they arrived on the scene, Waterville police found a 21-year-old man had been shot in the leg. Waterville Police Chief William Bonney says the man was uncooperative with their investigation. Witnesses reported seeing a black man fleeing the scene toward Water Street, but police were unable to locate him. During the investigation, several fights broke out in front of nearby Cancun restaurant, which prompted investigators to call for backup from nearby departments. After months of investigation, Waterville Police Detective Riley Dow identified 21-year-old Christopher Manigat as the person of interest. On Saturday, police arrested Manigat on an unrelated arrest warrant for failure to appear for operating after suspension. He was also charged with theft by receiving stolen property for being in possession of a stolen handgun. Following the arrest, Detective Dow developed enough evidence to charge Manigat for reckless conduct with dangerous weapon and aggravated assault in connection with the May 12th shooting. Manigat is currently being held without bail at the Kennebec County Jail. A motorcycle crashed into another vehicle in Old Town Tuesday afternoon after the vehicle failed to yield. According to Sergeant Joseph Ducati with the Old Town Police, they responded to a crash around 1 p.m. along the Bennick Road in Old Town. The vehicle was turning left onto the Bennick Road while the motorcycle was traveling east on the West Road in Old Town toward Gilman Hills. He says the vehicle failed to yield, causing the motorcycle to crash into the car. The operator of the motorcycle and the driver were treated by EMS on the scene for minor injuries, but neither was transferred to the hospital. According to police, the roadway opened back up quickly with few delays. The Maine Department of Transportation has started construction on a new bridge connecting Waterville and Winslow, replacing the current century-old bridge there. However, the project has forced drivers and businesses on both sides of the bridge to adapt to some new changes. Our Matthew Durantzik explains.
The Taconic Bridge connecting Waterville and Winslow was constructed more than 100 years ago. Since then, the bridge has deteriorated to the point that the Maine DOT has decided to replace it altogether.
The bridge is in very bad shape. We will have a new bridge built that will last us hopefully another 100 years, but it's going to take 3 years to get there.
During those 3 years, Maine DOT says the westbound side of the old bridge will be shut down to all traffic. For those looking to travel from Winslow into Waterville, they now need to drive along Bay Street, go across the Carter Memorial Bridge, and either follow Grove Street or Silver Street, adding extra time to their commutes. Rita's House of Pizza is one Winslow business that's been affected by the construction. Manager Zaharias Menadourakis says detours have put a dent into the company's everyday business.
It's definitely slowed down our delivery rate, probably by 10-20%. It's tough to get across town.
Despite these tough times, Menadourakis says he appreciates the support from loyal customers.
They've been really understanding, and they've done pickup if we've had to, if we're backed up on delivery, or just said, that's all right, we understand, we can do it another night.
The new Taconic Bridge will be similar to the previous one and will feature widened shoulders and sidewalks for both sides of the road. The project is scheduled to be complete by May 2027. In Waterville, Matthew Juronsik, ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
A Maine lawmaker wants to ban an alleged neo-Nazi paramilitary training camp in northern Maine. Democratic State Senator Joe Baldacci says this is ultimately about safety. His new bill would ban any violent paramilitary training camp in Maine. Christopher Polhouse reportedly bought property in Springfield, which is about 70 miles northeast of Bangor. According to the Anti-Defamation League, Polhouse is the leader of a white supremacist group called Blood Tribe, which has protested outside of drag shows. The ADL describes Polhouse as a neo-Nazi and reports he is creating a training ground on his property in Maine. Senator Baldacci says his bill would ban any militia training grounds that cause civil disorder, regardless of party or ideology.
He has a right to believe whatever he wants to believe, but when it moves beyond that to possible incitement of violence, then we have a right as a society to stop that.
The bill would go before the Legislative Council sometime after October 1st. If it advances there, as well as in committee, it will be up for a full vote next year. The bill would also ban wearing masks for people who carry in open places. The Ellsworth City Councilors met Monday night to discuss a proposed mooring ordinance for its lakes and ponds ahead of a vote. The ordinance would limit overnight mooring and docking in the city's Great Ponds. As part of the meeting, the public was allowed to voice their opinion on the matter.
Right now, anyone can go and drop a Home Depot bucket full of cement and put a mooring on it anywhere they want. And this is littering, it's ruining our lakes, and it's only going to get worse as time goes on.
To me, this ordinance is excessive, it's not necessary, and it's an overreach of what our original founding fathers established.
The ordinance was passed by a 4-2 vote under the stipulation that revisions will be made to amend and clarify its language. At this time, the ordinance is anticipated to go into effect January 1st of 2024. More of Orono's public workers have received union certification. Last Thursday, the Maine Labor Relations Board ruled the town's new union should be certified. It's another major step in the process, which began in February when the town office, Parks and Rec, and Public Library filed for union recognition. These will not be the town's first unions, as the fire and police departments have had their respective unions established for some time.
We're happy to work with a unionized workforce. We're looking forward to talking to the employees and working out on the contract. You know, it's for us, it doesn't matter if they're unionized or non-union. We try to treat our employees well and make it a great place to work.
Town leadership expects contracts will be proposed in the near future. The Maine Center for Coastal Fisheries is getting more than $450,000. The money comes from the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. MCCF is a nonprofit organization in Stonington. They have a 3-year plan to provide safety and survival training to 250 future lobstermen and women from high schools, particularly those located near commercial lobster fishing zones with high poverty and unemployment rates in Hancock, Washington, and Knox counties. Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, an estimated 1 million birds die or are injured every day around the country from glass window collisions. Maine Audubon is asking for your help to find a solution. We've got the details when we return.
A quality quality replacement window made with Fibrix material, which is twice as strong as vinyl, delivered through a stress-free process. Welcome to Renewal by Andersen. Get the peace of mind knowing Renewal by Andersen handles everything from start to finish. With one call, you'll enjoy working with the best people, exclusive products, and a superior process.
It's the people.
It's the process.
It's the product.
Call now to get our exceptional signature service. This fantastic offer is available only for a limited time. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better way.
With AAA Insurance, by bundling our home and auto policies, we saved over $450.
And we were shocked at the savings.
When we switched to AAA auto insurance and bundled our policies, we were able to save over $400 every year.
Switch to AAA insurance today, and you could save an average of $483 on auto insurance. Compare that to State Farm, Geico, even Allstate. Call now for your free AAA full picture quote to find out how much you could save.
Well, my passion is hang gliding. I've been doing it for over 30 years, and it's like flying. I mean, it's like everything you always dreamed about. AAA insurance helps us save more.
And do more.
The savings from AAA Insurance has allowed me to pursue my passion of making jewelry. It's great to have a little bit of extra cash to do something that you love.
To find out how much you could save by switching to AAA Insurance, call 866-460-1310 for your free AAA full picture quote today. You'll be glad you did.
We're here today to set the record straight about Dupuytren's contracture. Surgery is not your only treatment option. People may think their contracture has to be severe to be treated, but it doesn't. Visit findahandspecialist.com today to get started.
I got rear-ended at a stoplight, and the insurance company tried to give me this tiny little check.
Don't take a tiny check from the insurance company.
I called the Twos, and Lowry & Associates got me $300,000.
Call the Twos. We win for you.
ABC 7, Fox 22, Katahdin General Store, and Graham's 5 and Dime want to send you to see Hank Williams Jr. live in concert with special guest Old Crow Medicine Show Friday, August 25th at the Main Savings Amphitheater in Bangor. Sign up to win tickets by registering at Katahdin General Store in Millinocket. KG is the place for outdoor supplies, clothing, sandwiches, and homemade food. And Graham's 5 and Dime in Detroit. Stop in to elevate your wellness today. Win tickets to see Hank Williams Jr. August 25th on the Bangor waterfront.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Estimated 1 million birds die or are injured per day around the country from glass window collisions. With fall migration around the corner, Maine Audubon is asking people to take steps to prevent these numbers from soaring even higher. Our Doug Banks has the story.
It's something that happens more than you think. Birds of all different species flying into windows.
The reflection on the windows is what causes them to fly into them. Usually they just don't perceive them as much.
Before fall migration begins, Maine Audubon and other conservation groups are researching how bird collisions impact the greater population and what species are most affected. And experts say there are steps you can take to help avoid these collisions.
Usually when they're passing through, that's when it's more common if you're in a taller building. So keeping the lights off from dusk until the morning, and there's window clings and stickers, and you can cut out silhouettes and tape them onto windows to make sure that the birds can see that this is a solid surface.
If you come across an injured bird, experts recommend retrieving it with a towel or a net, then placing it inside a tall box with a towel at the bottom. If the bird flies off in a half an hour, that's great. If it doesn't, do not feed or give the bird water, and call your closest rehabilitation center.
I think that the tall cardboard box towel water dish method is great if you can't access a wildlife rehabilitator, but if you can, it's better to keep the bird in a space where it's not going to have the chance of further harming itself.
In June, Maine legislature passed LD 670, a step forward in protecting birds colliding into public buildings.
I would love to see our communities learn about this problem, care about this problem, and want to do something about it in their own projects, in their own lives.
In Herman, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
WERU Radio in East Orland is just one of 5 radio stations across the country participating in a program that brings people together. The goal is to pair individuals with different political, economic, and cultural views for a one-on-one conversation in order to make one small step toward understanding one another. Jody Hersey has more.
There are no shortages of things people disagree on these days. However, WERU is teaming up with StoryCorps' One Small Step program to highlight how folks of opposing views can still find common ground.
And so the idea is with this project that we're bringing people together and so that they can learn from each other and set aside their assumptions, learn what they have in common, and also understand their differences through a personal lens.
Every conversation is recorded, but participants can choose whether or not they want their conversation released for radio use or archived in the Library of Congress, where future generations can access it. 30-year-old Katie McMurtry, who moved to Maine this year, and 63-year-old Rick Kirkpatrick of Northport recently sat down at the Belfast Library to participate in the program. Neither one of them had ever met before.
I think a big turning point for me was when a friend of a friend passed away from an overdose, and they were one of the most bright and outgoing and kind people that I'd ever met, and I didn't know that they were struggling in that way.
You know, social media and other things have allowed you to live in your own little echo chamber. And I have the great good fortune of not being allowed to live in that echo chamber because my wife and I do not echo the same things.
Michelle Crystal says StoryCorps is looking to record 25 conversations between strangers by the end of December.
A lot of people are also talking about how they see that a program like this can help us to really come together and rebuild our communities.
Those wishing to participate can fill out an application at weru.org and select the One Small Step icon. In Belfast, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
After the break, student loan payments are set to restart in October, but a new plan could drastically change those payments. We've got the details when we return.
When your gut is out of balance, your body gives you signs. So if you're frustrated with occasional bloating, gas, or abdominal discomfort, help stop the frustration and start taking Align every day. Align Probiotic was specifically designed by gastroenterologists to help relieve your occasional digestive upsets, so you can enjoy life. When you feel the signs, it's time to try Align.
Some things are worth waiting for. Something reliable, something loyal, something long-lasting. A 6-year warranty? Coyote's got that. One machine for all the dirty work? Count on Coyote. Coyote won't break your heart, and Whittemore & Sons got the deals that won't break the bank. So quit swiping and settling for less. Slide into Whittemore & Sons and be treated like family by a family who cares. 257 Waterville Road, Skowhegan.
The Piscataquis Valley Fair, an old-time country fair, August 24th through the 27th in Dover-Foxcroft. This reminder brought to you by Hardwood Products, makers of quality disposable woodenware since 1919. Johnson Foundations, full concrete foundations, floors, pool areas, slabs, specialty walkways and walls, and Cat Tracks in LaGrange, your dealer for Hewitt Docks and Grasshopper lawnmowers.
Experience the ultimate outdoor living with Granville Stone and Hearth. Our high-quality grills and outdoor living products will take your backyard to the next level. Scan the QR code on your screen to explore our wide selection of grills and outdoor living accessories. From classic charcoal to state-of-the-art gas grills, we have everything you need to entertain guests in style. Create unforgettable moments with family and friends. Start your outdoor living journey today with Granville Stone and Hearth.
Now to tonight's first 2024 Republican presidential debate. 8 candidates vying for the party's nomination are set to go head-to-head this evening in Milwaukee. But the frontrunner, Donald Trump, won't be there. Sources tell ABC News the former president is planning to counter-program the debate, which comes a day before he's set to surrender in Georgia and that state's 2020 election interference case. ABC's Justin Finch reports from Washington.
In Wisconsin's largest city, final preps for tonight's Republican presidential debate. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and businessman Vivek Ramaswamy are set to take center stage. Ramaswamy on CNN.
Many people in this country didn't even know who I was 6 months ago, so this is a good opportunity for me to introduce myself to the country.
The party's inaugural debate of the 2024 campaign cycle pressing ahead without Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is the leader, and if you want to be number one, you have to take on the person who is number one.
The former president justifying his absence with recent polling showing he's the clear frontrunner by wide margins.
I've made no secret of the fact that I want him on that debate stage.
The 8 candidates attending had to meet the Republican National Committee's polling and donor requirements. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who has qualified, on conservative channel Newsmax, slamming Trump's decision to skip tonight's debate.
Because he didn't have the guts or the respect to show up on that stage and defend his record and advocate for the future of America.
People will make a decision based on the future of their family, not what's going on in the legal entanglements of the former president.
In Milwaukee, some voters are looking for a Trump alternative.
I think he's got to hang it up. I really do. He's not gonna win if he gets the nomination.
Sources familiar tell ABC News that Trump pre-taped an interview with former Fox host Tucker Carlson that is set to stream online as the debate airs live on Fox. Though Trump will be absent tonight, his campaign says he will have top advisors and surrogates in Milwaukee representing him in the debate spin room, thanks to invitations from some media outlets. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
Student loan payments are set to restart in October, and the Biden administration has a new plan that could help ease the burden for borrowers. The administration says its new income-driven repayment plan, known as SAVE, is, quote, the most affordable repayment plan for borrowers. Payments will be decided based off a person's current income and family size. The SAVE plan could bring monthly payments down to zero for some borrowers, while saving about $1,000 per year for others. Borrowers can enroll in the plan by visiting studentaid.gov/save. The COVID-19 pandemic was hard on everyone, particularly for children. With more, here's ABC's Justin Finch.
The early stages of the pandemic upended people's lives, and that stress was especially hard on kids who were already in vulnerable places. A study in the journal Pediatrics found that around a quarter of adolescents under 17 years old experienced a trauma like physical violence or neglect during the pandemic. Kids who experienced more than 4 traumatic events early in the pandemic were 3 times as likely to have new trauma later on. Traumatic events in childhood, such as violence, neglect, or substance abuse in the home, increases the risk that someone will have poor mental and physical health as an adult. But there are ways to prevent some of those long-term effects. Researchers suggest that creating a safe and supportive environment for kids helps combat these traumatic experiences. And most importantly, seek out professional help. With this Medical Minute, I'm Justin Finch, ABC News.
When we return, Devin Biggs has your 5-day forecast.
Luna Family Auto Sales is a locally owned business run by a husband and wife team. Here at Luna Family Auto Sales, we combine our passion for cars with providing service to the community and local economy.
Featuring no dock or hidden fees at all, we offer financing for all credit types and service everything we sell.
Check out our website at lunafamilyautosales.com.
Or come in and say hi. We'd love to meet you and introduce ourselves.
Luna Family Auto Sales, 649 Stillwater Ave, Old Town.
Renovating or building new, you'll find a wide selection of high-performing, energy-efficient, and beautiful windows and doors at Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales representative will walk you through the showroom displays and help you choose options to create a personalized custom look. Free in-home measurement is available, and Hammond can deliver your order from any of their locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Bring your vision and enjoy better light and added security and energy savings with quality windows and doors from Hammond Lumber Company.
Let your creativity run free at the Creative Arts Center, where we offer fun and affordable activities for all ages. Birthday parties, pottery wheel classes, painting lessons, or just for the fun of it. Get fired up for glazing projects as well as acrylics. We offer a wide selection of ceramic products for you to choose from, and we have thousands of pieces ready to paint. We are a Paragon kiln dealer and a Laguna Clay distributor. Stop by the Creative Arts Center today, located just off the Joshua Chamberlain Bridge in Brewer. The Creative Arts Center, where your only limitation is your imagination.
Stop waiting. Start living your life without knee or hip pain. Connect with a Northern Light orthopedist and get back out there. Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center. How are you?
Acadia National Park has announced their selection for a new position they've created to help with Acadia's growing need for planning and project management. Matt Otea has first to hold the position of Chief of Management at Acadia National Park. Matt is a registered civil engineer with experience working in the private sector, at most recently in design and engineering branch at Yosemite National Park. His experience will help the park with construction projects and cultural resource preservation. Now let's check your full forecast with Devin Biggs. Devin?
Alrighty, here we go. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Ruth and Wimpy's Restaurant in Hancock. Now hiring for all positions. As we get things rolling this afternoon, a nice one out there though with a lot of sunshine and temperatures. That'll be very reasonable as well. A little bit of energy in the northern parts of the state that we've been watching. I think we'll be okay though, as we'll see a lot of sunshine, maybe a few passing clouds during the afternoon period, and that'll be about it. We have high pressure right nearby helping us out though. A cold front smooth through. Meanwhile, across a good part of the country, it's going to be hot out there though with some heat moving in. Some dangerous heat with that, especially with an elevated area of high pressure that's causing a lot of the precipitation to go into the western parts of the U.S. and the parts of Canada, and also in the parts of Michigan and parts of the Northeast too. But meanwhile, though, check out Tropical Storm Franklin right here. That's tracking from the south going toward the north, though. Here's another update from earlier, now up to around 50 miles per hour. Looks like it might be nearing a landfall very shortly as it moves to the north at around 10 miles per hour and sustained winds again at around 50 miles per hour. So moving forward, though, you're going to be watching this thing tracking off towards the north and east. It's going to be kind of slowing down as well, though, as we do move forward. So we'll be seeing it slowing down for a bit, then tracking off towards the north and west as we head towards next week and possibly up to a Category 1 hurricane. So we'll keep an eye on that as we do move forward. But back here at home, though, not too bad, though. We'll see a lot of sunshine today, maybe a few passing clouds, and maybe a slight chance for a shower later on tonight as well. But I think most of us will be okay. We'll see a few clouds, maybe some areas of dense fog to start things off. For your Thursday, maybe a few more isolated showers possible by Thursday afternoon with the clouds moving through. Thursday night will be okay. Then by Friday, showers and thunderstorms starting to move in yet again. Not much in the way of any thunderstorms, I should say. Not much energy for that, but definitely some rain will be on the way. Middle 70s is what we'll do this afternoon. Then upper 70s to lower 80s Thursday. Back in the mid 60s Friday with all the rain moving in. And 70s starting Saturday all the way through at least Tuesday of next week. Dew points, let's talk about those. We'll be comfortable for a while. Those we'll see dew points roughly in the 50s, maybe a day or so in the 60s as we get closer towards Saturday. But overall, not too bad, though, compared to what we've had in the past. So your forecast for today, we'll say middle 70s with a lot of sunshine. It'll be awesome out there. That west wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. By tonight, middle 50s, partly cloudy, maybe an isolated shower possible, and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. For tomorrow, upper 70s, maybe some lower 80s, partly cloudy, maybe some isolated showers. South wind at about 5 miles per hour. Ruth and Wimpy's Restaurant extended forecast. Again, rain moves in for your Friday with highs in the mid 60s. Lower 70s Saturday as the rain continues, and lower 70s again for Sunday as the showers continue to fall.
Thank you, Devin. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening with Peter Dubois and Beth Jones on ABC 7 News at 6. Have a great afternoon.